This is the Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast with Nick Cattles.
Everybody, welcome into a sort of mini Greg Bedard Patriots Podcast on location here in Mobile, Alabama at the Senior Bowl. I'm Greg Bedard, Mike Giardi, both from BostonSportsJournal.com. One thing I heard talking to some Patriots people trying to find out where they were, I've heard that there's a lot of work going on internally as far as a scout school, which basically would be Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels and Terrence Williams, the coordinators, getting together with the scouts, especially Vrabel and Williams. I think McDaniels, they kind of know what he would prefer. But they basically teach them, like, these are the guys that we want. These are the height, weight, speed. These are the intangibles, like trying to get that stuff down. Plus, there's some value. I will say, because of the college football playoff, I will say the talent's a bit watered down here. I think the best quarterback is going to be in the American team practice, the second practice today, which is what the heck?
Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe?
Dart, yes, from Ole Miss. And, you'll have Jalen Milroe from Alabama out there as well. But, plus everything's filmed, all that stuff. I will be interested to see if they fill out the contingent as the week goes on. I imagine Vrabel's going to make an appearance at some point. I think he likes to be seen. I also heard that, free agency is also a very big priority for this Patriots team. I think, the draft will be the lifeblood, but I think we all saw this past year they need to do a little bit more in free agency if they want to compete.
More than just a little bit more. A lot more. Obviously, they have the dollars to do it. Whatever number you want to believe, 117, 130 in terms of the millions that they have for the cap. Last year, they dabbled and didn't have much success. A couple of secondary pieces like Austin Hooper, Antonio Gibson did well for them, but no real big splashes. Their attempted big splash was Calvin Ridley, and obviously he said thanks, but no thanks. This year, there's a couple players, whatever position you want to target, where I think you've got to make it such that whatever number you put on the table, they can't say no thank you to. Whether it's the millionaire's tax they're worried about, living in the Northeast, living in Foxborough as opposed to, you're not in Boston, those sorts of things. Like, there's such a need for a talent upgrade. And Greg, I'm curious to your thoughts on this because I was kind of looking at it a couple weeks ago and wrote about it a little bit in terms of Belichick's second year when they jumped into free agency, 2001. And that was the year where they signed 17 free agents. That was Mike Vrabel, it was Brian Cox, it was David Patton, but they got Mike Compton. They got a lot of contributions from those players, and they weren't top end of the market guys. They were more that so-called middle class. And when I look at this roster and how bad it is, look, you still need to aim high, like on a T. Higgins or someone of that ilk, if Ronnie Stanley comes free, that sort of thing. But there's a turnover that's necessary here, and that's the quickest way to do it. And yes, you're going to overspend, but you have the money and say, hey, look, for 1 or 2 years, we've just raised the floor of this roster.
Yeah, and that's also sort of what the Commanders just did.
Yep.
And, it's a tough thing to try to do, but I will say what – the Commanders relied on was they had all these veteran coaches who had been around, who they brought in players that they largely knew, and they couldn't do that really with last year's staff. Hooper worked out because he had been in Cleveland, but now you're talking about Vrabel had been in Tennessee. He's been in Cleveland, where there's an offensive tackle, Jedrick Wills, who's going to hit the free agent market. If Vrabel likes him, good chance that he's probably here. But then you have, Ryan Cowden has been with the Giants and the Titans. You have Josh McDaniels, who, I looked at the Raiders free agent list. There's some good players there that Josh has a lot of background with. Terrence Williams from where he was with the Lions and also the Titans. Like, you have all these veteran Doug Marrone has been with the Saints. You have all these veteran coaches now. The best way to do it in practice and adding those mid-tier guys is to have coaches who will vouch for these guys.
Sure.
And say they are going to work out. Whereas, last year it didn't really work out that. Who knew Chooks Okorafor? Maybe if they had somebody that knew Chooks and that he doesn't really love football.
Doesn't love football, doesn't want to play left tackle. No matter how many times you tell him this is what's the best for the team, he doesn't want to do it. He and Scott Peters were also, they did not mix at all. But yeah, to your point, I think that gives you a sense of this is how this guy can be coached. And do we have players on the roster, or is this guy in free agency the type of guy that can handle the way they're going to be coached? Because I think you and I both think that this staff is going to come in with a little bit more of a hard-ass edge to it.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a certain type of player, especially now as we talk about the younger players and the NIL and all those sorts of things. Like, some of them just don't want to be criticized or they can't handle it. Mm-hmm. And that's fine. That's the way it goes. But, like, you better be sure that the guys that you're bringing in, and especially the ones you're investing high picks or money in, can handle that aspect.
Yeah, one thing, talking to a couple of league executives on the field after the first practice today, they remarked that they expect a pretty quick bounce back for the Patriots with Vrabel, with McDaniels, with a veteran coaching staff, but also they talked about the division. I mean, you have the Jets starting all over again. Mm-hmm. You have the Dolphins feel like they're teetering. I mean, really it should be, you got to go for Buffalo. This staff knows how to play Buffalo from Vrabel and McDaniels. And so, a lot of people think that the Patriots are going to bounce back pretty quickly. One thing, this is sort of a developing take for me, Mike.
I like it.
So
we were hashing this out in the car ride over.
Yes. So we know Josh McDaniels is the offensive coordinator. We both think a lot of Josh. Mm-hmm. We both think he's good. The staffing that they're putting together around him, Doug Marrone, yes, there's sort of a cousinly thing because Bill O'Brien and Doug Marrone go back years. They're best friends. Their wives are best friends. So obviously there's some carryover. Now I do think that Doug Marrone is more of a Sean Payton type of guy. He has been in a variety of schemes. A couple places like Jacksonville, he had to do the zone blocking scheme. But basically, you look at the staffing that they're putting around Josh McDaniels, I think we're both left wanting, like, where are his guys?
Right.
So you look at it, and there's been a lot of talk about, is he a Kraft hire? Is he a Vrabel hire? The less amount of Josh guys that come in, the more it gives you evidence that maybe this was an arranged marriage by the Krafts. And the other thing is, Doug Marrone has been an offensive coordinator in this league. Thomas Brown has been an offensive coordinator in this league at two different places. It almost feels like there's almost backup in case this Josh thing doesn't work. What do you think about my crackpot theory?
No, it's very interesting to me because I think we just lived this 2 years ago with Bill O'Brien, right? Bill O'Brien brought in, that was a Kraft. We're not doing the Judge Patricia thing. Get Bill. Bill comes in, and Bill Belichick says, you got one assistant coach.
Yeah.
And the rest of the staff was they're Bill's guys, Bill Belichick's guys, not Bill O'Brien's guys. So how does Bill want to coach at Bill O'Brien? He didn't have the guys. He had to teach those guys how he wanted it done. Obviously did not go well for everybody, and Bill couldn't have gotten out of here faster, O'Brien. And now you look at Josh and say, like, when they made the hire, I'm thinking to myself, you're going to let him hire his guys, right? Like, obviously Mike's going to have to approve it. And if there's any ties, Mike will get the tie goes to Mike Vrabel. But, like, we're not seeing that. And is Josh, how involved is Josh? Dews, the running backs coach, was a Tennessee guy. Hufteling, I'm sure I'm not pronouncing it right, assistant line coach in Tennessee. Like, where Doug's not a Josh guy. There is, as you said, overlap, so he knows him, but, like, that's not his guy. And I do wonder, are you setting your coaching staff up on the offensive side for the kind of success that you've been hoping for the last couple of years, and that you should have, quite frankly, with someone like Josh, who's been there, done that, and has had success? I know you can throw me the Brady numbers and what's it like without Brady. All I know is he developed a competent offense with Cam Newton, who couldn't throw the football. Yep. He got the best out of Mac Jones in 2021. Then if you want to go back to getting Brissett ready to play with a limited playbook and getting a win, or Jimmy getting ready, developing and helping get Jimmy get paid, like, those are things that you can't overlook. So while the head coaching tree didn't work out for him, that whole period of time was not great for Josh. His time as an OC has been.
PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. It's playoff time, and it's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. Prize Picks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Game time. I found that through Game Time Picks. Filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. I love the all-in pricing. Toggling in this feature shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have seat views. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. That's a must for me. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
Just giving people a flavor of what we've seen on the field so far through only one practice. Obviously, I watched the big fellas, and the Patriots certainly have some needs there.
Many.
I thought the Anthony Belton kid from NC State, the left tackle, really stood out, really had a good day. The BC kid at right tackle did not have a good day. Trapillo, he got run around a few times. I thought the Arkansas center was pretty good. One thing I heard a lot, and I think it was Todd McShay, I want to say, was talking up the Connerly kid, left tackle from Oregon coming into this. Might have said maybe he was his highest rated left tackle. Dude looks small, and he wasn't all that impressive today. I see him as more of a guard. He certainly didn't jump out. I thought Belton was the best left tackle by far. Looks like he can play the position. Anything stand out to you today?
So beauty's in the eye of the beholder. The times that I did peer down because I was looking at the little guys or you were looking at the big guys, the times I did see Connerly, I thought his feet were excellent. So, Again, I didn't see all the reps. I can't tell you how every rep went, but the times I saw him, I at least like the footwork. Belton did kick inside at one point, too, at guard, so you get some positional versatility there. He's certainly someone, when I looked over, I was like, oh, yeah. From the skill guy standpoint, what? That's a lean group that they had out there. Nothing really happening with the quarterbacks, although I shouldn't say that. Dylan Gabriel, if he was stretched 6 inches taller, is the first-round pick. Mm-hmm. He throws the ball on time. He throws it accurately. He doesn't have the huge arm, but he has a good enough arm. He put the ball wherever he wanted to today. But again, he measured at 5'10". I feel like he was on his tippy toes when he did that. I mean, he looks so much shorter than everyone else there. The receiving core, Higgins from Iowa State, long, tall, good stop and start engine with him, decent route runner. But again, nothing that really – I mean, last year I'm sitting here going Ladd McConkey, Roman Wilson, like on and on, Ricky Pearsall, like on and on and on went. This is a group that's clearly second and third day receivers, and it sort of – that's how it went today. That's what you saw.
And I was actually a little bit disappointed with the tight ends. Like the Fanning kid from Bowling Green, certainly one of the most productive tight ends in NCAA history. Small, like really small, would be more of a move tight end in the Patriots offense. Not that he can't do it, but it's the Miami kid, Miami tight end had a nice route down the field, got away from coverage, but other than that, it was pretty lean.
Yeah, it's not a great group. The running backs I thought were probably the best of the bunch, and I am like Todd McShay. I'm on Martinez from the University of Miami. Now he's going to have to answer some questions about some of the stuff that's happened with him off the field. I think there's a couple DUIs in there, at least one I know of. So he'll have to answer that part of it, but he runs hard and he runs angry, and there's a physicality to him and a presence to him that, like, he's in the same group with Ollie Gordon, who I think a lot of people thought was RB2 coming into it. I thought he looked like the better back today.
All right, well, second practice is about to start. We got to get back to work. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you later in the week.